Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to start with the said unit number 4, that is curves of the surveying 2. Okay. Okay. So in the unit number 4 of this said curves, we are going to cover this content, that is significance of curves and curve settings, then types of horizontal curve, elements of simple compound curve, then compound curve, transition curve. Okay. So as per the syllabus, we are supposed to take only the introduction part of the transition curve, then setting out of the simple circular curve by linear and angular methods. And next, vertical curves, its types and lengths of vertical curves. So these are the content that we are going to see in the unit number 4, that is curve of surveying 2. Okay. So here you can see various types of curves. Okay. So this is nothing but one kind of curve which is provided to the said railway track. Okay, so here you can see a curve which is there. Okay, which is in U shape here. Okay, and the road is starting from this side. Okay, or it is having certain gradient difference. Okay, sorry, or it is having a slope. Okay, or again you can see here there is a turning point. Okay, so likewise it has also been given to the bridges. Okay, wherever there is change, you can see it here. Also you can see how the curve is here. Okay, and this is the curve. Okay, so these are the various correspondingly photos of the curves. Okay, so we'll start. So what do you mean by a curve? Okay, so basically the curve is nothing but which is been provided when there is something obstruction in between the said your straight alignment of the road. Okay, so what happens due to the presence of unavoidable circumstances? In that case, you are supposed to take the diversion. Okay, so unavoidable circumstances means what? Correspondingly, there might be any church, it might be a temple, or it might be a mosque, or it might be any important structure, so which is not been, which cannot be just demolished, and you can go on constructing the road. Okay, so for that purpose certain diversion you are supposed to take it. Okay, so you can see here, so this A to B is one straight alignment and second one is B to C. Okay, so due to certain, suppose there is one obstruction, and due to which you are supposed to take the diversion. So that diversion or the deflection which you are supposed to take, it is nothing but called as your curve. Okay. So during the survey of the alignment of a project involving roads or railways, the direction of the line may change due to some unavoidable circumstances. Okay. So the angle of the change in the direction, okay, so the angle of the change in direction is known as the deflection angle. So here you can see the change in the angle. So it was straight here and there is change in the direction, so that the angle, this angle is called as deflection angle. Okay. So for it to be possible for a vehicle to move over a smooth surface, okay, or to run easily over the road or the railway track, the correspondingly the two straight lines or the two alignments are joined by an arc. Okay, so that arc, which we call it as nothing but a curve. Okay, curve of the road or track. Okay, so curve will be provided in case of the word road, and correspondingly it might be also can be used for said railway track. Okay, or there might be also provision for canal also, you can provide the curve. Okay, so you can get an idea. So whenever there is supposed to take a diversion, okay, or suppose to check correspondingly take a turn. Okay, so this is the original line. Okay, so A to B is nothing but the original line, and BC is the deflected line. So in between that, we are going to provide a curve, smooth curve, so that correspondingly it becomes possible for a vehicle to run easily over that arc. Okay, so that arc which you call it as a curve. Okay, so the curves are regular bends provided in the lines of communication like roads, railways, and canals, etc., to bring about gradual change of direction. So that what we have talked about right now. Okay. So moving further, what is the need of providing curves? Okay. So as we are seen that due to certain unavoidable circumstances, we are going to provide the curve. So this that is one of the reason. Okay, so there are several reasons by which you are supposed to provide the curves. That is not only the main reason. Okay, so we'll see one by one. So curves are needed on highways, railways, and canals for bringing about gradual change of direction of motion. Okay, so we have seen that they are being provided in highways, railways, and canals. Okay, so for gradual change of direction of motion. So for what purpose they are provided? So the reasons are number one, first, to bring about gradual change in direction of motion. Okay. Second, to bring about gradual change in grade and for good visibility. Okay. So you might have seen that when you are traveling over the said hilly area or somewhat there is undulations. Okay. So that is the purpose the curve they are being provided. So bring about gradual change in grade and for good visibility. Okay. Second, to alert the driver so that he may not fall asleep. Okay, so that is one of the most need of providing curve. Okay, so we are knowing that whenever the road is going to remain straight, so he will keep a mindset that the road is straight away. Okay, so I'm not requiring to remain alert, or correspondingly the car is going to take it up to the last point. Okay, so in order to remain driver in alert position, the curve is supposed to be provided. To lay out canal alignment is also required for the curve. Okay, for this purpose also we provide the curve. Okay, next. Okay, to control erosion of canal banks by the thrust of flowing water in a canal. Okay, so in order to control the erosion in the of the canal banks, okay, so we are knowing that by correspondingly much greater force is there. Okay, while flowing of the water. So in order to avoid that, okay, so the curve is been provided, okay, by thrust of flowing water in a canal. Okay, so for that we can control the erosion of the canal banks. Next, so basically in the curves we are having two types. Okay, one of that it is horizontal curve, and second one is nothing but the vertical curve. Okay, So when the curve is been provided in the horizontal plane, it is known as a horizontal curve. Okay. So you can see here. Okay. So this is nothing but the horizontal plane. Okay. So the curve which is been provided in a horizontal plane. Okay. So that it is called as a horizontal curve. Okay. But practically in each and every case, it is not possible to provide only horizontal curve. There might be change in the gradient. That is, it might have a rise or it might have a fall. Okay. So in terms of curve, we give the word as gradient. Plus gradient, that is rising gradient or falling gradient. Okay. So it might have a rising gradient or it might have a falling gradient. So in that case, we are supposed to provide the second curve, that is nothing but a vertical curve. Okay. So that is when a curve is been provided in the case of vertical plane, that curve we call it as a vertical curve. So correspondingly, we know that along the alignment of any project, the nature of the ground may not be uniform. Okay. And may consist of different gradients. So as I told you, it might have a rising gradient. Again, it might have a falling gradient or up gradient followed by down gradient or down gradient followed by an up gradient. So what do you mean by gradient? Okay, so you can see here a slope is there. So car which has been traveled from this position, so it has gone at the bottom position. So it was at up gradient, then followed by down gradient. Again, it is going to climb here, travel it. So again, it will be followed by this down gradient followed by an up gradient. So it is going to increase it here. Okay. So rising gradient may be followed by the falling gradient and again falling gradient followed by a rising gradient. Okay. So and vice versa it can be there. And in such a case, a parabolic curve path is provided in the vertical plane in order to connect the gradients for each movement of the vehicles. Okay. So these curves which are being provided in the case of vertical plane that are called as vertical curves. Okay. So there are certain forms of the curves. So that we have seen first, it is nothing but horizontal curve and vertical curve. Okay. So there are various forms of the horizontal curves also that we are going to see one by one. Okay. So as I told you, so curve is been divided into two parts. That is, first one is the horizontal curve, which is been dealing with the horizontal plane, and vertical curve is dealing when it is been provided in the vertical plane. Okay. So horizontal curve is been further divided into subforms as simple curve. Second one is the compound curve. Third one is the reverse curve. Fourth one is the transition curve. And fifth one is the lemniscate curve. Okay. So beyond that, there are again some curves. Uh, it might be spiral curve or it might be cuboidal curve. Okay. That we are not going to go in much deep. Okay. So these are sufficient. And as per the requirement, okay. So the simple curve and compound curve, we require it because the problems are generally which we provide on the curve. So basically, it is a requirement that you should go with the simple curve only. Okay, instead of providing the reverse curve or correspondingly other spiral curve. Okay, so basically the transition curve is dealing with the railway track that we are going to see one by one. Okay, so we'll start with the simple curve. Okay, so before starting with the curves, so there are certain definitions or terms of the curves that we should know. Okay, so unless and until we are not knowing the basic concepts, okay, certain terms or definitions, we cannot go for the starting part of the curves. Okay, so first is the degree of curve. So what do you mean by degree of curve? So the angle a unit chord of length 30 meter subtends at the center of the circle formed by the curve. Okay. So what do you mean by this definition? So just consider this is nothing but an AB is an arc. Okay. So R is nothing but the radius and D is the degree of curve. So the angle which is been subtended, okay, so the angle, this angle D, which is been subtended by a 30-meter chord, unit chord length. Okay, so this AB length is having length equal to 30 meter. Okay, so the angle which is been subtended by a 30-meter unit chord length at the center of the circle formed by the curve, that is called as degree of curve. I will repeat, the angle which has been subtended by a 30-meter unit chord length at the center of the circle to form a curve, that is called as degree of curve. So it is designated by capital D. Okay, and correspondingly a curve may be designated according to the either the radius. Okay, correspondingly curve can be measured in terms of radius or it might be in terms of degree of curve. Okay, so the radius of 1 degree curve is found out to be, after calculating, 1719 meters approximately. So correspondingly, when the unit chord subtends, so unit chord when it is 30-meter length, okay, so when the angle is 1 degree, so it is called as 1 degree curve. So when the angle is 2 degree, correspondingly it will be called as 2 degree curve. Okay, and correspondingly we can calculate the radius of a 1 degree curve by using correspondingly formula, that is R is equal to 1719 divided by D. Okay, so it will be equal to 1719 meter. So that we are going to see what is the relation between radius of curve and degree of curve. Okay, so moving further. So second point that we should know, it is nothing but relation between radius and degree of curve that we have seen right now. Okay, so either the degree of curve or curve can be designated in terms of radius or degree of curve. So just assume the same curve. Okay, here you can see. So AB is the chord having length equal to 30 meter. We have seen, and this is the angle or the degree that has been subtended at the center of the curve in order to form this curve. Okay, so I'm going to assume half of this. Okay, that will be D by 2. And again, the length AC will be equal to 15 meters. Okay, so OA, so this OA is nothing but radius. AB is 30 meter. Half this AC is 15 meters. And angle AOC is nothing but D by 2. Okay, so I'll write down here angle AOC is equal to D by 2. Okay, so considering the triangle OAC, okay, sine of D by 2, sine of D by 2 will give me opposite, it is AC, opposite it is AC divided by hypotenuse, that is OA. Okay, so AC we are knowing that half of the unit chord, so that is 15 meters, and OA is nothing but R, that is radius of curve. Okay, so in order to find out the relation between the degree of curve, I'll just transfer it at the bottom and transfer this R to left hand side. So it will become equation R is equal to 15 divided by sine of D by 2. But correspondingly, when the D is very small, when the D is nothing but our degree of curve, so it is very small. So sine D by 2. So as the degree of curve is very small, so instead of taking sine of D by 2, we can take it as D by 2 in terms of directly radians. Okay, so it will become 15 divided by only d by 2. Okay. And correspondingly, when you are supposed to get the answer in terms of meter, okay, so we are going to multiply this by pi by 180, and after solving this, okay, we get something about value equal to 1718.9, 178.9 divided by d, so which we generally take it as approximately equal to 1719 divided by d. Okay, so this is the relation between radius of curve and that of degree of curve. So formula is r is equal to 1719 divided by the, okay, so this is the relationship between radius and degree of curve. So by making use of this, you can find out the radius. So when you are knowing the degree of curve, just put the value when it is 1 degree curve. So 1719 divided by 1, it will be 1719. When it is 2 degree, just put the value of d equal to 2. You will get the radius of curve. Moving further, next term is super elevation, or which we also call it as cant. So when a particle moves, okay, so when a particle moves in a circular path, okay, correspondingly, a force which is called as centrifugal force, it is acting upon the said vehicle or railway, and which tends to push it away from the center. Okay, so which tends to push it away from the center. Okay, so correspondingly, in such a case, we are not having any counter force balance, okay, or component force in order to balance. So for that purpose, okay, what is been done, we are raising the outer side of the road to a certain extent with respect to the inner edge. Okay, so due to which we get a component, okay, that is nothing but the w sine theta, which counterbalance the overturning force, and the height through which the outer edge of the road or rail is raised, that is this small edge, is known as superelevation or cant. Okay, so if suppose as per this sketch, this p is the centrifugal force. Okay, suppose this is p is the centrifugal force, w sin theta is the component of the weight of the vehicle, which is helping us to counterbalance the overturning force. H is the super elevation or the cant given to the road or rail. Okay. So correspondingly, what we get is nothing but the equation W sin theta is equal to WV square. So we are going to equalize it. Okay. So the height through which the outer edge of the road or rail is raised to counterbalance the centrifugal force is called super elevation or cant. So that I explained it. Okay. So when you are going to equalize this, W sin theta is equal to, so as they are going to counterbalance each other, so W sin theta will be equal to WV square divided by GR. Okay. So what we are going to do? So this theta is very small. Okay. So correspondingly, this sin theta we are requiring in terms of H. Okay. So for that purpose, what we are going to do? So we are taking it equal to tan theta, and correspondingly we are measuring, because we require in terms of H, and with respect to the said whatever is the width or gauge of the said road or railway track. Okay. So this correspondingly sin theta is been converted in terms of tan theta, and the value is taken as H upon V. Okay. So after solving that, we get correspondingly equation. So WW will this get cancelled. Okay. So the value will become here when I'm going to substitute this h by b here. So b v square divided by g into r. Okay. So b is nothing but the correspondingly width of the road in meters. And when I'm going to consider the capital G, that will be dealing with the distance between center of rails. Okay, that will be the change only in the formula. So this is the formula. H is equal to BV square upon G into R. So this is for roads. So B is nothing but our width of the road in meters. Okay, and when we are going to take the center to center distance of the rail, that is gauge in meters. Okay, so for railways, this formula will be applicable. So H is equal to GB square upon GR, where as I told you, B is nothing but the width of the road in meters. G is the distance between center of rails, gauge in meters. Capital R is the radius of the curve in meters. G is the acceleration due to gravity, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. V is the speed of vehicle in meters per second. And small h is the super elevation in meters. Okay. So this was the concept regarding SID super elevation, or which we call it as cant. Moving further, okay. So next term, which we should know also, that is nothing but the centrifugal ratio. Okay. So it is nothing but so the centrifugal ratio is defined as the ratio of the centrifugal force to the weight of the vehicle. Okay, so it is given by the formula centrifugal ratio CR is equal to P by W, which is equal to WV square divided by G into R into W. So WW this will get cancelled and remaining the formula will be V square divided by G into R. So correspondingly, V is nothing but the velocity, regular G is acceleration due to gravity, and R is the radius of the curve. So the allowable value of centrifugal ratio is 1/4, that is 0.25 for the roads. And for the said allowable value of centrifugal ratio for rail, it is 1/8, that is 0.125. Okay. So these were the certain terms that we should know before starting with the types of curves. Okay. So moving further, so we'll start with the types of horizontal curves. Okay. So first one is the simple circular curve. So as the name indicates, simple circular curve, it is simple one only. Okay. It is nothing but a simple arc, single arc. Okay. Which is been provided with a continuous radius. Okay. So you can see here. Okay. So this is nothing but a single arc which has been provided between the two tangents. Okay. So A to B is the first alignment and B to C is the second alignment. So when the car or an object is going to start its journey from A point, it will come up to the T1. So T1 is nothing but the tangent point. So from this point, okay, it will start taking a smooth curve. Okay. And it will travel up to the T2, that is the second tangent point, and again it will merge with the original alignment of the road, that is the deflected alignment of the road. Okay, that is of the BC. So it is a curve that consists of a single arc with a constant radius connecting the two tangents. So instead of calling it as a simple circular curve, one can also call it as a circular curve. So this is the type of a horizontal curve which is mostly used in common. Okay, so it is easy to design and place whatever are the distances with respect to the common intersecting point. Okay, so mostly this simple circular curve is being used. So this is been provided in the road or railway track to impose a curve between the two straight lines. Okay, that is the simple circular curve. Okay, so moving to the second, that is the compound curve. So now here you can see, okay, two curves are provided here. Okay, here two curves are provided. So one is from T1 to T2 and second one is T2 to T3. And also you can see there are three tangents. Okay, so A to B is one tangent, B to C is the second tangent or alignment, and correspondingly C to D is the third. Okay, so what is the purpose of providing such kind of curve? So when a curve consists of two or more arcs, okay, so you can see here there are two or more arcs. Okay, we can provide it here. So when there are two or more arcs, okay, with different radii. Okay, so when there are two arcs, so which are having a different radius. So here it is one R1 and second one it is R2. Okay, so such a kind of curve is called as a compound curve. Okay, got it. So when a curve which has been provided with two curves, okay, with a different radii, okay, that it is called as a compound curve. And in this case, a common tangent is to be provided, okay, so that whenever there is change in the direction, okay, so that is nothing but a common intersecting point of the two curves. Okay, so that is T1 to T2 and T2 to T3. And correspondingly, the center of these curves of both the curves, okay, of T1, T2 and corresponding T2, T3, the radius of the centers of those curves lie on the same side. Okay, got it. And this type of compound curve is provided with a common tangent. So this type of curve is called as compound curve. Okay. Next one is the reverse curve. So a reverse curve is made up of two arcs, so which are having equal or different radius. Okay, radii bending in opposite direction with a common tangent at their junction. So just like our compound curve, so it is having a common tangent, but the difference is that the centers are lying on the opposite sides. Okay, so you can see here O1, that is here it is the center of one curve, and second center is on the other side. And but they are having a common tangent. Okay, that is correspondingly BC. Okay, so that is the intersecting point T2. So their centers lie on opposite sides of the curve. So that is regarding the reverse curve. Okay. So as usual, R1 is the radius of this one curve, R2 is the second curve, T1, T2, T3 are the tangent points. So phi 1 and phi 2 are the deflection angles. Next one is the transition curve. Okay. So the curve of variable radius. Okay. So this curve is having a variable radius. Okay. So which is called as transition curve. And this is as per the sketch, you can see the transition curve is been provided on both the sides of a circular curve. So circular curve is nothing but our regular simple circular curve. So curve which is been provided on both the sides of a simple circular curve with a variable radius or varying radius. Okay, that curve is called as a transition curve. Okay, so in general we call it as a curve of variable radius is known as a transition curve. So it can be defined as a curve of varying radius of infinity at tangent points. So it is infinite at tangent point, and when it is going to start merging with the simple circular curve, so it will have a constant radius. Okay, so it is going to have a constant radius unless and until it is going to match with the next point. Okay, and going to merge with the next alignment. Okay, so basically this type of transition curves are being provided in the case of railway tracks. So whenever excessive super elevation is being provided, so which causes wear and tear to the rail sections, and which provides discomfort to the passengers. So for that purpose, this transition curves are being provided. So we are knowing that the length of railway is more one as compared to our regular cars. So in order to take a turn, you cannot just do a practice like that of you might have seen in many of the movies that they are just lifting up the said handbrake and they are taking a drift. So it is not the case like that of the train. Okay. So it is required to take a long turn. So for that purpose, starting with infinite up to the certain radius, so that is the radius of the simple circular curve. So the whenever the railway is going to travel from this A point, it will come to the point T1, that is the tangent point. So it is going to take a turn. Okay, so unless and until it is going to enter come here in a straight line. Okay, so when it is going to come here, then and only then it is going to start taking the turn. Okay, and again after taking the turn over this simple circular curve, again in order to match with the next deflected alignment, it is going to start taking the turn. Okay, from a certain radius up to again infinite radius. Okay, so this is nothing but transition curve. So this is also known as easement curve. Okay, so the primary purpose of the transition curve is to enable vehicle moving at high speeds to make the change from the tangent section to the curves section to the tangent section of a track in a safe and comfortable fashion. So as I told you, there are chances of getting certain damage, that is wear and tear to the rail sections, and in order to provide comfort to the said passenger, so such kind of transition curves are being provided. Okay, so in order to have smooth running of the train, such kind of transition curves are being provided, so which reduces the wear of rails. Okay, so last type of curve, that is lemniscate curve. Okay, so in this transition curve, so this is also one type of curve only of the transition curve, so in which the radius decreases as the length increases, and hence there is a slight fall of the rate of gain of radial acceleration. So this Lemniscate curve is similar to a transition curve and is generally adopted in city roads where the deflection angle is large. Okay, so whenever there is certain more deflection angle is there. Okay, so in such a case, such kind of Lemniscate curve is been adopted or it is been provided. Okay, so this was regarding the today's part. Okay. Okay. So we'll in the next lecture we will start seeing the whatever are the notations that are supposed to be used in the circular curve. Correspondingly, what are the properties of a simple circular curve? So depending upon that, what are the methods of plotting the simple circular curve we will be seeing, and correspondingly the problems based on that. Okay. Thank you.